Home buyers in the Chicago suburbs are getting hit hard by things that they don't even see coming.
You might feel ready with your pre-approval letter and money saved for your down payment, but right now, 6 big problems are coming together to create what many experts are calling the toughest market in decades.
The good news is, once you understand these hidden challenges, you'll know exactly how to move through them. And while most buyers are getting caught off guard, we've got you. I'm Wendy Pollock, a licensed real estate professional, and this is my partner and husband, Mark Pollock. We have been helping buyers and sellers over 20 years work through the tough market conditions, and we're still coming out with successful home purchases.
And no matter if you're a first-time buyer feeling stressed about this market, or a move-up buyer trying to figure out the best timing for both selling and buying, or someone who just wants to understand what's really happening in our local market, this video has everything you need to know about the current situation and how you can succeed and position yourself for all these challenges.
All right, Mark, let's talk about the different 6 challenges that we're seeing. So one is a housing shortage.
Because there's more buyers than there are homes available right now.
And it's a huge shortage. And it actually started back COVID is really where
Yeah, you definitely. It actually started back in 08 when it crashed and builders went out of business. That lack of inventory, just piled up, and then COVID hit and created a significant shortage of homes, and we just can't catch up right now.
Yeah, so Illinois is actually, just to give some numbers and facts behind this, is Illinois is short by 142,000 homes in units, according to the University of Illinois Economic Policy. And to catch up, the state would need 227,000 new homes to be built in the next 5 years. So it's just creating this huge shortage.
Yeah, and it's impossible to build that many homes. Right now, the month supply of inventory is at 1.7.
And let's put some weight behind that. So anywhere from 0 to 3 is what we call all-day sellers market. And then between 3 and 5 is a balanced market, and anything over 5, it's a buyer's market.
And we're at 1.2, and we're deep in a seller's market.
Yeah. And of course, we would love to see that stability of anywhere, in that stable market really would be a happy place for both buyers and sellers.
They're building new homes. You see a lot of new subdivisions coming up, but they just can't keep up. The construction costs are just too costly. And, the next problem that you might have.
Several families are fighting over the same home. So too many buyers, not enough homes, and it's causing a huge shortage.
If you're finding this breakdown helpful, hit subscribe now. We're constantly sharing different strategies that you won't hear from other agents tracking these market forces.
All right, so the second problem we've actually talked about in previous videos, and this is the tax burden. So we have seen an increase of about 7%, which it puts us some of the highest in the nation. In 2025, the share of tax burden from residential homes went up from 51% to 54%.
So many families are now paying more for property taxes than they are for rent.
All right, the third problem that we're seeing is the affordability crisis. And honestly, I think that this is one of the strongholds that's happening right now. Sellers think it's 2022, and buyers, between the rising costs and the taxes that we just talked about, the affordability is just becoming out of reach. So right now, 43% of the Chicago households are actually struggling with housing costs, and the problem's only getting worse.
Yeah, 43% of households, they spend more than 30% of their income on housing. 22.64% spend over half of their money on housing, and that's the second highest rate in the Midwest.
Yeah, so let's just give you an example. So someone earning $80,000 should be spending about $2,000 on housing, but property taxes alone can run anywhere from around $2,300 before the mortgage payment, and this is per month. So you can kind of see where that burden's coming in. All right, and the fourth problem that we're seeing is those investors, because let me tell you, they're coming to the table with cash. Families or first-time home buyers are just really having a hard time competing.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more cash offers now than we ever have. And yeah, they're dropping a lot of different contingencies just to make their offer a lot better. Some are waiving the inspection, like we just had one this week, to win over multiple offers.
Yeah, and so families with strong pre-approvals are still losing to these cash buyers, which leads us into the fifth problem, and it's a double burden hitting even more buyers when they can't pay cash.
Right now, 32% of purchases are cash.
All right, so we already talked about the lack of supply and how many new builds would actually help, but it's almost unrealistic that we build at that rate. And on top of all this, let's talk about construction costs.
Yeah, the construction costs alone, they're just not realistic to be able to catch up. And builders are actually building a lot more higher end homes, and they're not building as many. So that combination, because they need to make a profit, so they're focusing on the higher end homes so that they can make the profit.
And do you see how this all wraps in with the affordability and the cycle and the lack of homes and so many buyers out there?
And the average first-time home buyer age has gone up over a decade, so it's a problem.
All right, so we're going to talk about market reality right now. Just like I said, sellers, we're at a standstill because sellers are expecting even higher prices than they're getting, and buyers with the affordability are just kind of putting on the brakes, between the mortgage rates, the high prices. And again, if I hear one more person say the mortgage rates are high, they're not high, they're average. But coupled with that high price tag that we've seen now, it's really crunching that affordability. So
yeah, it's all perspective.
Yeah.
They're higher than they were in 21, 22 when you've got a 3%, where they're now a little over 6%. So yeah, they're definitely higher than they were a couple of years ago, but they're not high in a 50-year perspective. They're actually average.
But it's not all doom and gloom. You just need someone that knows the market and knows which levers to pull when you find the home that fits your family needs. And that's where we come in.
Yeah, the right agent is going to be able to tell, and it's very dependent, the style of the home, whether it's updated, how new it is to the market.
So let's use the fall market. That's a huge opportunity for buyers. Anywhere between November and January, it's opened up for the last 3 years. We've seen an immense opportunity. So true, not as many homes on the market. Also, not as many competition. Not as much competition out there also. So
yeah, there's not as many sellers or buyers looking. So it's a really good market to get your home sold, because only buyers that are really looking are out looking. And if you're a buyer, there's not as many buyers to compete on the homes you're looking at.
All right, so let's go through some strategies that are winning with our buyers. To even have a chance, you must come with a full pre-approval letter, not just a pre-qual. And we've even got some lenders that will take you all the way through the process so that you can actually close your loan in 2 weeks. And if you're working with a strong local agents like ourselves, who understand these pressures, it is now more critical than ever.
There's a lot of competition for when you're going up against other buyers to be through that underwriting process so that you can close quickly, and they know that all of your income has been verified and you've submitted all your documentation and that's been checked out.
Yeah, and just like we talked about, the timing of your search is also key, because the right strategy, you can sometimes avoid the very worst competition, just like we talked about. So in conclusion, these 6 problems, the housing shortage, record-breaking property taxes, crushing affordability, unfair investor competition, mortgage rate lockdown in effect, and the spiraling cost of construction have created what housing experts describe as the most challenging market in decades. And with all that being said, we're still buying and selling. For families trying to achieve home ownership in the Chicago suburbs, these just aren't statistics. They represent real barriers, and we have your solutions.
If you're trying to navigate this complex market and you need an experienced professional who understands these forces and can help you develop a winning strategy, give us a call, send us an email at info@pollockproperties, and let's discuss how we can put together a winning offer for you and how to get ready for that.
Now that you see the forces crushing the Chicago suburban housing market, you need to know what's coming next. In our next video, we'll share predictions for 2026, why that $135 million housing investment will barely make a difference, and when the market could hit a true crisis point. Now that you know the forces crushing down the Chicago suburban buyers, you need to know what's coming next. And in our next video, we're going to share our predictions for 2026.
Click that video now so you're fully prepared for the next 18 months.